This morning I'm going to talk to you about how the World Economic Forum has just taken over, completely have just taken over the United States of America. Before I get started, and it's very important that I talk about this before I get started, why am I wearing this potato sack and this shield of David? The potato sack is to warn each and every one of you out there that the two witnesses are coming and they will be wearing sackcloth, while they are pouring out all kinds of plagues upon the earth, including 3.5 years of no rain. This, the yellow Mogan David, I wear it because the Christian world and the Muslim world, but mainly the Christian world, use this to condemn millions and millions of Jews to death. They used this sign. They made this sign, the Christians did. They put it on the Jews, and they put the Jews to death. This is therefore pointing out to you Christians that you are now condemned. Your condemnation on the Jews has reached around and condemned you and your religion. Let's get started. So, here on Spreely Video, I'm not going to play it, but you can see it. You can Google it up for yourself. McCarthy admits to having dinner with the World Economic Forum founder Klaus Schab. Did you see what happened the last few days? It took 15 votes for the Republicans to finally give in and vote this man Speaker of the House of Representatives. They finally got all or nearly all the Republicans in line. Of course, I could have told you that. This is too easy to predict. Now, some people might ask, what is the big deal? What is the big deal? Well, in videos past, I've showed you how they're planning on stopping the consumption of meat. But that's not the real offense here by the World Economic Forum. Members. Here we go, Jane Goodall at the World Economic Forum. She says, I hope that this has not been talking while I've been talking. She's at the World Economic Forum. We can solve climate change by depopulating the earth by a mere? You know what that word means, right? She considers that a small amount. By a mere 7.5 billion people. Now, somebody like this needs to be handcuffed, put a straitjacket on her, and send her to a mental institution. But today, you see, The world encourages every kind of thought except for that which is righteous. The world encourages evil thought. Right here at the World Economic Forum. Now, let's do a little math, shall we? So, I pulled up a calculator. And this is how many people she wants to remain alive. 388 million. That's it. Now, remember, she is an animal rights activist, right? That's what she is. Look her up, you'll find out. Now, let's look at the similarities between her thoughts and Adolf Hitler. There was widespread support for animal welfare in Nazi Germany. Among the country's leadership, Adolf Hitler and his top officials took a variety of measures to ensure animals were protected. Several Nazis were environmentalists, and species protection and animal welfare were significant issues in the Nazi regime. Heinrich Himmler made an effort to ban the hunting of animals. Hermann Göring was a professed animal lover and conservationist who, on instructions from Hitler, committed Germans who violated Nazi animal welfare laws to concentration camps. In his private diaries, Nazi propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels described Hitler as a vegetarian. Here you can see near the end of his life, Hitler followed a vegetarian diet. It is not clear when or why he adopted it, since some of the accounts of his dietary habits prior to the Second World War indicated he consumed meat as late as 1937 and 1938. Okay. Joseph Goebbels described Hitler as a vegetarian whose hatred of the Jewish religion in large part stemmed from the ethical distinction this faith drew between the value of human life and the value of the animal kingdom. Goebbels also mentioned that Hitler planned to ban slaughterhouses in the German Reich following the conclusion of World War II. Okay? So we see a pattern here, folks. Doesn't that make you uncomfortable? Well, it should. You see, folks, let's be honest here. Satan runs the world. The enemy of the Jews runs this world. He has one goal, and that is to wipe everything Israel off the face of the earth forever and ever. Now, I know that there are some of you out there, especially watching the BitChute channel. You get angry over this. You claim in one side of your mouth that the white people are Israel, or that the church is spiritual Israel, and then on the other side of your mouth, you say that the Jews are Khazarians, they are Satan's seed, and all this other sort of thing, when some of them look whiter than you. What is it with you people? And I'm not going to get into the skin color thing right now. If you would bother to read in the book of Exodus, where Might as well go ahead and do that right now. My father an Aramean. Where is it? It's in here somewhere. Okay, the search on this is not good. All right. Why would Israelites call their father a wandering Aramean? You know what Aramean is, don't you? Syrian. Is it? Okay, Deuteronomy 26 and verse 5. Now we found it. I thought it was in Exodus. I'm certain it was it is in Exodus. Deuteronomy 26 verse 5. Or is it? Let's try again. Now, go to Strong's Concordance. In King James Version, ironically enough, has it more clear, and they usually have it less clear. Okay. And it shall be, when you are come in the land, not which the Lord, but which Jehovah Elohim has given you. So not the Lord your God. For an inheritance, and possess it, and dwell therein. You shall take of the first of your fruit of the earth, which you shall bring of your land, that Jehovah Elohim has given you. You shall put it in a basket, and you will go to the place which Jehovah Elohim shall choose, to place his name there. That place is Jerusalem. And you shall go to the priest in those days, and say unto him, I profess this day to Jehovah Elohim that I am come to the country which Jehovah swore unto the patriarchs, Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, for to give us. And the priest, the Cohen, shall take the basket out of your hand, and shall set it before the altar of Jehovah Elohim, and you shall speak and say, before Jehovah Elohim, a Syrian, Aramean, ready to perish was my father, when he went into Egypt and sojourned there with a few, and became there a great nation, mighty and populous. And you're supposed to do speak this whole statement, how the Egyptians treated us unrighteously, and afflicted us, and laid us upon us hard bondage, and we cried out unto Jehovah Elohim, our fathers, our Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov. Jehovah heard our voice, and looked on our affliction and our labor and our oppression, And he brought us forth out of Egypt with a mighty hand and with an outstretched arm and with great terror and with signs and with wonders. And he brought us into this place and has given us this land, even a land which flows with milk and honey. Now, behold, I have brought the first fruits of the land, which Jehovah has given me, and set it before Jehovah Elohim, and worship before him, and rejoice in every good thing in which Jehovah Elohim has given. Your house, the house of the Levite, and of the stranger, and all that is among you, including the Gentile. The Israelites are Aramean, Syrian, and their complexion goes from medium dark all the way to as light skinned as some of the Nords. Now, back to the subject at hand. Now, as you can see, there is a plot. There is the most extreme genocidal plot taking place right now before our very eyes. All the Western nations now have subjugated themselves to these genocidal maniacs. So it would not be surprising, it shouldn't be surprising to any of you that they are provoking a nuclear war. How else are you going to wipe out, depopulate the earth by 7.5 million people? Now, for those of you who say, why are you talking so negatively against Kevin McCarthy? I mean, after all, he's a good Republican, right? All right, it is written in the scripture that there will be those who have an appearance of righteousness, but deny the power thereof. From such turn away. Well, this is a worst case scenario. He's not turning away, he's joined them. As my mother used to say, birds of a feather, they flock together. So, you know that they also, they want to wipe out the vast majority of humanity so that one race, one particular race in the sons of Japheth, the sons of Japheth has several races, not just one. One of them just so happens to be white. These people want that particular strain of white to rule the earth, and they want the rest to be, as long as they have AI technology, there would be no need to have humans as their servants or their slaves. They just have AI technology to go and grow their crops and whatever, provide them food. That's what they want. The rest of you are expendable. But the real reason behind it is, folks, they want to wipe out every Jew, every Zionist, everything belonging to Israel. That's what it's always been about since Hadrian. So, the tribulation upon Israel, it started off with a 3.5-year destruction of Jerusalem, or some would argue 7 years. This tribulation upon Jerusalem continued and continued. It has not stopped. You still have the Al-Aqsa Mosque where it should not be, at or near the Dome of the Rock. You still have the Church of the Holy Sepulchre where it ought not be. The place where Titus placed the abomination of desolation. So Israel is clearly under the subjection of the world. In fact, Israel's government is a Roman Republican style government which will be immediately dismantled once Yehoshua HaMoshiach takes his throne, takes the throne of David. But it's written here, except those days be curtailed, not shortened, curtailed, stopped. Curtail, read it, there it is. There should be no flesh saved. And people would try to say it means saved alive. Well, preserved, or rescued, or delivered from danger. It doesn't say saved alive, but it says rescued from destruction. So we can use there shall, if those days were not curtailed, curtailed by what? Curtailed by the coming of Israel's Moshiach to save all Israel. There should be no flesh saved at all. In other words, if those days aren't stopped, if the days of the Gentiles are not stopped, there should be no flesh saved alive. And I'm going to go into Luke 21 and what did I just do? Right. They shall fall by the edge of the sword and led away by it captive among all the Gentiles. Notice this word and this word is the same. Gentiles, therefore that word is Gentiles. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down by the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles is fulfilled, complete, ended. That's when the days of the Gentiles are curtailed. Because if it wasn't curtailed, there would be nobody left alive. Well, as you can see, these people want to kill off all but 388 million people. But you see, as you may know, or if you don't, maybe you should go and collect some wisdom. There is an old saying that kind of goes like this. what is it? The best laid plans often go awry, you see. So if these people, if her idea were to be implemented according to the scripture, nobody would be saved at all. There would be nobody left alive. All right. So this right here and Luke 21 is the same. All right. Now, the second part is the return of the Son of Man. That's when all the elect shall be saved. Who are the elect? Do you know who the elect are? You think you do. I know you think you do, but you don't. Most people have no concept of what the elect are. Not immediately. On the flip side. In other words, on the flip side of this. Okay? On the flip side. This right here says a connective or adversative participle. Do you know English? Are you versed in English very well? But on the other hand, on the flip side, see? So this is a flipping. This is going from the right hand to the left hand, or the left hand to the right hand. So if the time of the Gentiles comes to the end, right, as is written here, the time of the Gentiles is fulfilled, completed. If the time of the Gentiles is completed, that means there is no more left. Take a month. If a month has 30 days, then the 30th day of that month is completion of that month. Until the time of the Gentiles is complete. So on the flip side, as we see in Matthew, or Matityahu, that's how you're supposed to say it, Matityahu. Okay? After the tribulation of those days, or after Israel's tribulation, because we just read who took who into captivity. So the sun be darkened and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from the sky. What shall fall from the sky? Things that blow up. Just like meteors blow up, so do nuclear weapons blow up. And as I pointed out, the prophets gave plenty of reason to believe that these are nuclear weapons. Now he's going to launch his own as well. His own meteors and plagues. And the powers of the sky shall be shaken, agitated, cast down. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in the sky, and all the tribes of the earth will be what? Not mourned. Will be cut off, will be smitten with a rod of iron. Okay? And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the cloud of the sky with power and great glory. And he will send messengers to. If you read the Revelation 12, Revelation 11. You'll see. With the great sound of a trumpet, and they will, or a great sound of a shofar, and they will gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of the sky to the other. So what we do is, and we'll read this too, there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars, and upon the earth distress upon the Gentiles. So there was distress upon Israel for nearly 2,000 years. Now there's going to be distress upon the Gentiles, nations distinct from Israel, non-Israelite nations, therefore Gentiles. With perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, monstrosities of tsunamis, men's heart failing for fear, for looking and for seeing these things coming upon the earth, because the power of the sky will be shaken, and they will see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with great power and glory. Now, this says the Gentiles are going to be struck down. So then who is verse 28 of Luke 21 in reference to? Well, if you read Matthew, it's the elect. Send the messengers with the great sound of a shofar to gather together his elect. All right? So we find that the Gentiles are going to suffer a tribulation like Israel did. Then lift up your head. Lift up. Read this carefully again. Hoist up your head. Turn your head in offering of prayer, in blessing. Okay? Exalt yourself at that time. This is a time of the exaltation of a group of people. Look up. Make sure I get this. Raise myself up. Look up, am elated. Be happy. So the Gentiles are going to be cut off, but another group of people are to be happy and lift up your head and be exalted. All right. Because your redemption draws nigh. Whose redemption? The elect. Who are the elect? Let's look up who are the elect. Okay? The first one I'm going to look at is this one. For Yaakov, my servant's sake, and Israel, my elect, I have called you by your name, I even surnamed you, even though you have not known me. Back up. Backup would be in backup and proof. I'm going to look at this one. Well, we'll go to Romans 11 and look for backup. In this whole chapter, he's warning the Romans that they have the wrong attitude toward the Jews. And he says to the Romans, I would not, brethren, that you should be ignorant of this mystery, lest you should be wise in your own conceits, that partial blindness happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles. We just read the time of the Gentiles is complete. That's what, I don't know what happened with this, but what do you call that, translation? But Paul meant the time of the Gentiles is complete. That's what he meant. Because we just read it right here, the same thing. Time of the Gentiles. Is right here, I believe. Until the time of the Gentiles is fulfilled. That's why when you do your studying, you got to do it carefully, folks, so that your language and your translation does not screw up the meaning. Until the time of the Gentiles comes to the end. And so all. You don't believe me? All. Every kind of, the whole. That means all the tribes of Israel, not just Yehuda and Benjamin, shall be saved. Saved. Save, heal, preserve, and rescued. The healed part is the Ruach Kodesh being poured out upon them and their bodies healed if they are maimed in any way. It's all of the above. To save, to heal, preserve, and to rescue. Because it is written in so many places, in the prophets. But you Christians, you are exalted. You have exalted yourself, and you should not have. You have rejected the truth. You've rejected the words of the prophets. And you've even rejected the name of the only Moshiach, and chosen a false name. There shall come out of Zion the deliverer who will turn away unrighteousness from Yaakov, because this is my covenant unto them, when I will take away their sins. Concerning the message, they might be hostile on account of you. But concerning the election, they are beloved for the Ab's sakes, Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov's sakes, because the gifts and calling of Jehovah cannot be changed. So, when you see these people at the World Economic Forum plot openly for nearly total genocide of the earth, what are you doing? Are you studying? Are you preparing yourself to exit Western civilization and to leave everything you have behind? Or are you, like so many of you men out there, beholden to your wife? Your wife is your idol. Your wife is your God. Whatever she tells you to do, that is what you do. Well, I'm eventually going to have to do another video about that. About how marriage in Western civilization is a form of idolatry. You know, one of those statements that happy wife, happy life. When mama's not happy, nobody's happy. Or how it is that a man gets down on his knee, to offer a woman a wedding ring. It's never ever supposed to be done. That is idolatry. For this notion that your wife is supposed to come before anything else. Well, you're going to find out what happens to people who hold that ideology very, very soon. After all, this is how Satan got Adam, was through his wife. Don't be like Adam. Be like Lot. That's right, be like Lot, who when it was time to walk away from Sodom and Gomorrah, he turned his back on Sodom and Gomorrah forever while his wife looked back. And he didn't even look back to save his wife. He walked away. Watch out, folks. You see it happening right before your very eyes. How is it that you are not preparing yourself or are not prepared already? How can this be? I'm amazed. I'm shocked. I'm stunned that people actually think that this world is going to continue as it has in the past. It will not. This is going to end very quickly.